So we're going to be doing an oil change in a 2010 Ford Fusion V6 with the 3.0. We're going to be using the Mobil 1 high mileage 5W20 since the V6 takes 6 quarts for the 3.0, and then the 4-cylinder takes 5.3 quarts. But this is just going to be a quick, simple video on changing the oil. Okay, we're going to start our jacking up here, just typical jacking up, and then we're going to put our jack stand under there. Alright, we got our jack stand under the one side. I'm going to take it off and go to the other side. Alright, now we got our second jack stand under there. So now we'll begin taking the oil drain plug off. Or I'm sorry, we got to take these plastic covers off to get to the oil filter and drain plug, and then drain the oil. Alright, so underneath the car here, there's got this little oil filter cover that actually says oil filter. There is well, I don't know if this is factory or not or what, but there is looks like a T20 bolt there, and then an 8mm bolt here. And this cover latches right here and it comes down. Then on the back of the motor of the oil pan here, there's a drain plug, which we'll take off and drain the oil on this car. And put it back in here. Alrighty, so you can see up here that once you take this cover out of the way, there's the oil filter, which you can access there. And then on the back here, if I can roll around, there is the drain plug. To get all the way off, it's already starting to drip a little bit of oil. I don't have it off all the way yet, but you just take that off. That's 15mm, and drain your oil. You see it's draining there slowly out, and then I still got the seal on the end of the drain plug. Once that drains a little bit, I'll move this container over here and get underneath the oil filter. And so while we're here, we can see the car has a little bit of leakage around the oil pan, but nothing major. Nothing I'm gonna fix, because that's not enough to concern me yet. But other than that, not really much rust or anything underneath the car for being, what, this is 2010, so 16 years old. So yeah, I'll go get the oil filter wrench and show you guys get that off. All right, there is the oil filter. This one, well, I started it, but well, I guess it moved a little bit, but here is it on the oil filter wrench. It's like it resealed itself, but there it goes. Now it's loose. Let that drain out a little bit more, and we'll put the oil filter under here. But yeah, I actually got it cracked loose. I thought by hand it turned a little bit, but then I guess it hit a spot and it got restuck. But yeah, usually whenever I do this, the oil filter is always stuck on there. I can never get it off unless if I have an oil filter wrench. Alright, let's thread it out here. I'm gonna put this down because I'm gonna make a mess if I don't. Alrighty, and then there is it without the oil filter on. We have successfully taken off. We'll let it drip a little bit. Alrighty, so now we got the oil filter and the drain plug off. We're just waiting for it to drip. And then we're gonna go put the oil filter on and mark it with the mileage. Alright, so we're gonna write the mileage down, which looks like it's 122,479. I got one of these O'Reilly oil change sticker packs, and we'll write that on the filter and on the sticker. Alrighty, so I wrote it down on the O'Reilly's oil change sticker and the top of the oil filter. You don't have to write it on top of the oil filter, I just like to. And then on this car, I always use the Ford Motorcraft, the FL500S. That's what the previous owner used since new, so I just continue to use it. Then I use the Mobil 1 5W20 because I can get a deal on it. So, but and it's a really good oil. So let's put the oil filter on and the oil change sticker on, and put oil in it. Let me just rip off the old one here. As you can see, The next oil change was at 124 back in March 3rd of 2025. So I actually went 2 years without changing the oil and still didn't put 5,000 miles on the car. I change them about every 5,000 miles, but I never really make it to there. Once it hits about, a year or a year and a half, I change the oil, but I don't drive that much for it to make a difference. So I just always change it once it either hits a year or a year and a half like this, or the oil just looks dirty. But the oil looked dirty and it was getting kind of low, so I just figured let's do an oil change. And O'Reilly's had an oil change special on oil, so I bought oil. Alright, so here's something I do that you guys don't have to do, but I always fill up the oil filter a little bit with oil, so when the car starts up, it doesn't start off dry. Just a little bit to put in there, and then I also put a thin coat of oil around the seal. You're supposed to do that. I just do that real quick before I put it on the car. I'll show you putting it on the car here. Alrighty, so we got the oil filter back on there, and we'll put the cover back on. I just kind of moved it back since we only needed to take one screw out. Make sure it goes back in these little hole things that is pre-made for the oil filter. Hold on, let me put them on. Alrighty, so we got that all buttoned up and the oil drain plug on, which I don't need to show you. We'll lower the car and put oil in it and make sure nothing leaks. Alright, just before you forget on your Fusion, make sure you turn it to the run position, wait for the car to turn on, and then you go to the setup, and then you hit reset, and then go to the oil life and hold reset for about 2 to 3 seconds to reset the oil life to 100. Alrighty, thank you. Alright, we'll check the oil real quick here. After I just poured some in, and it's hard to see, but it's all the way full. So, yep, that's basically how you change the oil on a 2010 Ford Fusion. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.